Hey guys, it's Ben here. Welcome to my podcast. And in this episode, I'm going to show you how my track Here With Me was made. It's the second track on my album, The Eternal Optimist, which is out now. You can stream it everywhere. You can also buy a limited edition special digital download or this is the limited edition part, a CD or an LP. So if you are into that kind of thing, please feel free to check out the links below and buy it directly from me or just stream it on Spotify or wherever. I hope you enjoy that. I'm doing a podcast cast episode for every track on the album because I would really love to share with you how these songs came to be, share a little bit more background information. And I was thinking about this a couple of days ago, not to get too emotional and philosophical immediately at the beginning of the podcast. But, I have a son and I have a second one on the way. So if they are older, they might want to know, Dad, why did you write these songs? And maybe I hope to be around, but maybe someday I'm not going to be around anymore. And this would be really nice for them to have, to be able to see, oh, Dad made these songs because of this, or he shared a story, that I didn't know. So, but not to get too heavy straight away right off the bat. But, that's a part of the reason why I'm sharing this episode with you. But also, I'm just really excited and enthusiastic about my music. And I'm super glad that I finally get to share this album with you. That's been 2.5 years in the making. It's been a hell of a ride. And this song, Here With You, is the second song that I wrote. It started off with I Can Breathe Again. And then I started to think, well, maybe this could become, an album if I write other songs and maybe finish some ideas that I have lying around. And then I don't know where this song started. Oh yeah, I do remember. Yeah, see, I I do remember where this song started off. But this was the second one that I wrote. It started off because I've been listening to a song called Light by Johnny Helm. He's totally unknown, but he's well known in Hawaii and I think in some parts of America. But for some reason, I discovered him on YouTube or on Spotify or whatever, and he has this song called Light that really, I can get emotional listening to that song. Light. Yeah, that's what it is. I need light in front of me. I'm high up on this ledge and I cannot see. I wanna come down, please will you let me in? I'm not sure how I got this high tonight. It must be from my sin. That's the chorus for Light, Johnny Helm. Johnny, if you're watching, thank you so much for writing that song. It really inspires me and it moves me. Amazing, thank you. And that inspired me to write this song because I really love that chord progression. Maybe I should do a cover song. I love it. But that's basically what triggered Here With Me. No one said it would be easy, but they said we'd say goodbye. I basically projected my own story upon this sort of musical theme and, channeled this kind of version. And this is where the idea started to make a Coldplay inspired record. I've been a huge Coldplay fan for years and I love their atmospheric, ethereal sound, and they really move something inside of me. And I think they really channel some huge energy from the universe, which is also a theme on this record. So this is where that started. Very naturally, I was just playing around and I was coming up with this riff. So that, of course, is hugely inspired by Coldplay, this electric guitar. You know, that verb, that is the Valhalla vintage verb. If you're watching on Spotify or YouTube, you can see on my screen the Valhalla vintage verb. It's a reverb plugin that I absolutely love. It's my favorite plugin. It's all over the record. It's in fact, it's all over everything that I do. You know, but that's a huge sound that influenced this record. And this is another song that slowly builds. You know, there's contrast, a lot of contrast. This is a big theme in my music, contrast. In the previous episode, we talked about my song MTV, which has this huge contrast, you know, going from a small acoustic guitar section to this big booming chorus. And that sort of exists here as well. I'm using vocal stacks, doubles, harmonies, stuff like that. So let's, why don't we listen to the entire track and then we'll go into it in more detail. So if you've already heard the song, please feel free to skip, you know, I think 3.5 minutes, something like that. But if not, sit back, relax, and enjoy.
Said it would be easy, but they said we'd say goodbye. But there was something to believe in, like a shining star at night. Now we've made it through the fire, and we came out shining bright. The stormy weather, our love remains so tight. You are so much more than I'd ever need. I'm a better man when you're here with me. Even though they thought we'd never be, I'm a better man when you're here with me. I'm a better soaring like an eagle. If we listen to our hearts, we'll be roaring like a lion. If we're reaching for the stars, you are so much more than I'd ever need. I'm a better man when you're here with me. Even though they thought we'd never be, I'm a better man when you're here with me. I'm a better man when you're here with me. You pick me up when life won't go my way. When I'm with you, everything lightens up. So stay with me. You are so much more than I'd ever need. I'm a better man when you're here with me. Even though they thought we'd never be, I'm a better man when you're here with me. You are so much more than I'd ever need. I'm a better man when you're here with me. Even though they thought we'd never be, I'm a better man when you're here with me. I'm a better man when you're here with me. I'm a better man when you're here with me.
Yes, that's Here With Me. You know, it really moves me to listen to this song again. I haven't heard this in a while, and in fact, I haven't opened this Logic Pro session for at least a year. And, you know, to some people who listen to this song, you know, this was the first single of the record. They hear just, you know, a happy song, you know, oh, it's a nice track. and that's how most people listen to music, and that's really fine. But to me, when I listen to this, it moves me, and it's not about the lyrics, per se. It's not really about the story, but there's energetic communication happening, and if you don't pick that up, that's totally fine. Maybe it's just for me, maybe it resonates with me, but it does resonate with me on a really deep level. It hits me here in my heart area, and if you feel that as well, please let me know. Leave a comment or send me a message or whatever. I would love to hear if my music resonates with you. But that's the main way of communicating through this record, This is sort of like if you have music and lyrics here, there's energy, an energetic way of communicating, under that. There's like there's underflow, like this stream that is built in the record, and it's built in this song, and that is made in a way that triggers emotions, could trigger emotions. It could be different for everybody, of course, but for me, it physically resonates. It physically does something to me. I can feel it in my body, this music, and that's why I'm so enthusiastic about most of the songs that I make. Of course, I always try to have that way of communicating through my music. If I listen to both those in our mind that only me tonight. We're scared to be lonely by Martin Garrix and Dua Lipa. If I hear that chorus every time, there I have chills running down my back. Literal chills. And it's not a big chorus, it's not that special, but there's energy that's built in that chorus, and that's something that you can't fake. That's something that AI never can replicate. Okay, not to go into the whole AI discussion, but that's what I feel when I listen to this record, and that hopefully you experience that as well. And again, if not, that's okay too. If you just think, oh, it's a nice song, it's a nice pop song, makes me feel happy, or it doesn't do anything for me, then that's fine too. Okay, so now that we've listened to the entire track, let's go into it in a little bit more detail. It starts off again with acoustic guitar, this electric guitar, vocals, yada yada. So basically the same framework that I'm using for a lot of stuff. There's this pad happening, sort of 80s pad, and then there's this first chorus here.
You are so much more than I'd ever need. I'm a better man when you're here with me.
It's just 3 vocal parts, but it sounds really big for some reason. It's just a double or a triple.
No one's will keep soaring like an eagle.
Oh yeah, and I'm using this trick. That's I think that's interesting to share with you. I'm using this trick in the arrangement because after you've heard the first chorus, then there's nothing left basically for the listener, for you as a listener, to stick around. If you've heard the chorus, then you've heard everything. Of course, there could be interesting stuff happening later in the song as well, but basically, don't bore us, get to the chorus. The chorus is what you want to hear as a listener, and then after that, as a songwriter, you have to do your best to keep the listener listening. And the way that I like to do that is by first of all, I like to use this trick a lot of times where I cut the length of the verse in half. So if the first verse is 16 bars, then the second verse I like to make 8 bars, and that way you can go to the second chorus quicker, so you can keep the listener listening because nowadays people have such a a bad attention span that they tune out really quick. So if you don't keep things quick and interesting, you lose them. So you have to grab them. You have to keep them listening. And I hope that's what's happening with you as well. That it's interesting enough. But if it's not interesting enough, then you tune out really quick. So you have to, this is a rule that I heard Max Martin talk about. He changes something in every section of the song. So he adds something or he takes away something. Taking away something is change as well. And that way there's always something new that triggers, that dopamine response. And I'm not making pop music in that cheap of a sense, that it's all about dopamine and quick and 2-minute songs for the TikTok algorithm. I'm not like that at all, but I do think that it's your job as a songwriter to keep things interesting, because there's a message, there's a story that you would like to convey, and if you don't do that, if you don't package that in the right way, you lose listeners. So, this is, let's listen to it coming from the first chorus and going into the second verse.
Soaring like an eagle. If we listen to our hearts, we'll be roaring like a lion. If we're reaching for the stars, you are so much more than I'd ever need.
So it's first of all, it's shorter. The first verse is actually 2 verses. As you can see here, and the second verse is only a half of that. So that's what's different. There's a harmony part added. Sorry.
We'll keep soaring like an eagle.
And it picks up pace with the kick, on the 4. Doom, 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 doom.
We'll keep soaring like an eagle. If we listen to our hearts.
It starts to build to, the second chorus, which also has some harmonies added.
You are so much more than I'd ever need.
So totally different from the first chorus.
Much more than I'd ever need.
Totally different. Then we go into the bridge section.
You pick me up when life won't go my way.
That's very small, very intimate. I sing with a breathy voice.
When I'm with you, everything lightens up. So stay with me.
I'm using this automation that makes the "stay with me" really long. That's this part.
Stay with me.
Oh yeah, very pretty. And then we go back into the intro part, basically starting all over again, reminding you what the hook was of the song melodically, the guitar hook. And then we're building towards the end, adding layers, making everything bigger. There are actually these rhythm guitar parts that you don't really hear, but they add to the overall weight of the track. These parts, woo. Very mid-rangey sounding, but in the track, if I mute them, with you don't hear them, you don't notice them, but you feel that there's an empty spot when you mute them, so they add something. What else? There is actually an out-of-tune church organ in this track, believe it or not, which is very funny. For some reason, I at a certain point, I thought it needs like an organ, but not like a Hammond organ. That's too cheesy. But it has this sort of churchy vibe. Maybe that's because of my Christian background. You know, I've grew up in church, and I grew up a Christian, and I listened to a lot of worship music. And there's, you know, a church organ, of course, reminds you of being in church and give you this sort of like hallelujah vibe. And this is a sample of a church organ. Wow. And if you've never been in like an old church where they have an old church organ, they are always out of tune, and they all have a different pitch. You know, they are never pitched correctly. The Western tuning that we've introduced in the 20th century is at 440 hertz, but you know, classical music and stuff like that is tuned to 432 hertz. Which is in tune with the Earth. So that's actually a very interesting theory to look at for another time. You know, that resonates more with the frequency of the Earth and with us. But that's why, you know, these organs, and also because they are very old and they can be really pitchy, they are almost always out of tune. And this sample is out of tune as well. But, you know, in the track, it adds this another dimension almost, and this is what Charlie Puth, not Charlie Puth, excuse me, Jacob Collier talks about a lot. You know, he's a master of micro pitch and true temperament tunings and stuff like that, and I'm interested in that now as well. You know, because certain tunings can make you feel different things, and this is an example of that as well. You know, it adds this sort of like another energy, it evokes another emotion.
So much more than I'd ever need. I'm a better man when
Without
you're here with me. Even though they thought
woo!
I'm a better
It's very out of tune, it's too high, but it adds another layer, you know, and that's what's happening in this track a lot. There are a lot of layers which all contribute to the overall fullness of the sound. There's of course a tambourine sample. A tambourine is a great way to introduce or add more high-end frequency energy. So if you leave out the tambourine, then it doesn't have the same energy that it would have.
so much more than I'd ever need.
Well, it's actually a big part of the song, you know, with. If you mute it, then almost all of the top end disappears. You know, that's really not what you want. There's this cool 80s Phil Collins kind of vibe. Fun fact, I started off writing this album thinking I would make like an 80s Phil Collins kind of album. And eventually there were some 80s elements, you know, throughout the album. These tom fills being one of them. That's of course In the Air Tonight, and this kind of borrows from that. Really nice. So let's listen to that in context. So there's a little bit of Phil Collins in this song as well. So that's basically the entire track. I could talk about this for hours and hours. You know, these are some old electric guitar parts. Listen to them. Bass. Great mid-range, if I say so myself. The bass is also a huge part of the track. Played on my cheap Höfner violin bass, you know, my Beatles bass that was really badly intonated. But But it all worked out, and it adds to the groove. Dun, 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 dun. Final thing that I would like to share with you before I let you go is the chord progression. It starts off being this quite standard. So in the chorus, you're so much more than I'd ever need. Very emotional, a bit country, a bit worship kind of feel. I'm a better man when you're here with me. And even though they thought, but then I really wanted to switch this up. Otherwise, it would be just another one of those songs that uses these chords. We'd never be. So there's a C7th. Never be. I'm a better man when you're here with me, which I think is really refreshing, coming from. And it sort of lifts the entire song, harmonically as well. So a lot of fun. This was the second song that I produced, and this was actually a big new thing for me, producing this kind of track. I was really inspired by Charlie Puth, and I wanted to have that sort of Coldplay vibe, this modern Coldplay vibe. I still really love it. I hope you do as well. Please let me know if you watch on YouTube. Leave a comment or send me a message on Instagram or whatever. Go stream the record on Spotify or wherever else you stream music. Click on the heart icon, add it to your library, follow me, all that jazz. Really helps me a lot. If you want, you can buy the record as well. I have a download, a CD or a limited edition LP, a vinyl record as well, that you could buy directly from me. There are links down below in the show notes and in the description. So in the next episode, we're going to talk about my track Don't Run Away, which is track number 3. So see you there. I'm going to do another a podcast episode for every track on the record. So we still have a long way to go, but I hope you are finding things interesting. Please let me know, subscribe, leave a comment. See you there. Bye.